5 years. So what I don't understand is how come we're not sensitive to such a humanitarian issue. Tim, you said $250 million pledges by Arab countries. Very nice. I can pledge. I'll pay you each today $1 million. Okay. You will come and I'll be held accountable when I'll pay it. How much did the Arab countries pay in a humanitarian aid to Sudan, to Darfur, to the civilian people, to the normal people? Not much. So where did the Arab governments help the Darfuri people, help the Sudanese people in this conflict?
Nadim Hasbani, thank you very much indeed. It's a difficult business reporting on Darfur, isn't it, for everybody? What you call not caring by the Arab governments could be simply not knowing. There's a lot you don't know about what's going on in Darfur. You can't give me a figure for the number of people who've been killed there, can you?
The United Nations' last figure, dating back for a couple of years, was 200,000 people killed. That is a huge amount of people.
And based on what?
Based on the inquiry they did.
You don't know whether
Based
that's
on the
right,
figures
you
they
have. You have no idea. Last year, Britain's Advertising Standards Authority threw out a claim by the Save the Darfur Coalition that 400,000 people had died there at the hands of the government because it couldn't be substantiated. There's a lot of misinformation out there, isn't there?
400,000, 200,000. Okay, I'll tell you. Let's say it's 100,000 people. So what? We don't care about 100,000 people being killed? We don't feel anything towards 100,000 people being killed and 2 million refugees?
My point is that there is a lot of not knowing about what is going on in Darfur.
But why do we not know about what's going on? I tell you, I have documentaries, people who went,
just not caring,
who shot, who have testimonies of people in the refugee camp saying how their fathers were killed, how their brothers were killed, how their children were killed. Why don't we know that? Because the Sudanese government, with the complicity of the Arab governments, made very good media blackout on what's going on there. We know nothing about what's going on.
But this is a government that often turned up for peace talks when the rebels didn't. This is a government that has offered places to university places free to people from Darfur.
Sure.
This is a government that ended Africa's longest running war in 2005.
Does it mean they don't do media censorship?
I'm not talking about media censorship.
I'm talking about why
does this mean they don't care about peace? My point is, they clearly care about peace because they have a track record.
How can they care about peace? They started the conflict. They armed tribes against different tribes. Okay, you start a fire and they say, I'm a fireman. They started the conflict there for several different reasons.
They had an insurgency. They had an insurgency to battle. Every government has a right to battle an insurgency on its
so you do an
territory.
ethnic cleansing if you have an insurgency to battle? You bombard civilian villages with Antonov planes if you have an insurgency to battle? That's what they did. And the Arab governments supported them at the UN. Algeria, Qatar, Libya, when they were at the Security Council, they supported them every time. They blocked the UN resolutions. Every time they blocked it. Egypt was very, very dynamic diplomatically to do what? To block any pressure on the Sudanese government. That's what they did. They didn't care about the Arab brothers in Sudan at all.
Nadim Hasbani, thank you very much indeed. Now please let me call on Zeid and Sabban to speak against the motion.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim. So to talk about why I am against the motion. Peace in Darfur comes on top of our priorities in all its tracks: humanitarian, security, and political. On the political one, as we were close to the developments in Sudan, we early warned in 2003 about the fragile situation in Darfur. It was in a report. In early 2004, we sent the fact-finding mission, the report of which was considered as one of the best to describe the situation and the remedies. In August 2004, the Arab League didn't hesitate in calling for an urgent ministerial meeting and its headquarters to discuss the situation in Darfur. And for the first time in our work, the African Union and the United Nations participated in the closed Arab discussions. The peace talks for Darfur started in Nigeria 3 weeks later. All through the 2 years, we were there. We didn't miss an opportunity. We didn't miss a day. Even the Arab League was chairing the international partners meeting during the last 2 rounds of the peace talks. And we reached a declaration of principles, and we reached also a peace agreement. The Arab diplomacy presented by the Secretary General Moussa was engaged once again to overcome the obstacles of the identity of the peacekeeping troops through a close dialogue with the United Nations, with the African Union, and with the government of Sudan. And because of this Arab engagement, we succeeded once again in Addis Ababa in November 2006, and in Riyadh in March 2007, in getting finally the approval of Sudan and Security Council on the hybrid forces, the idea of hybrid forces. On the security track, the Arab League didn't, as the Arab League doesn't have yet forces, we supported the African Union mission with about $25 million. This is not much, but this is what we did, $25 million. And Egypt now is sending about 1,700 last month, once again, we paid for enabling the ceasefire. I am saying this is during a time where Iraq is invaded, Lebanon is bombarded, the Palestinian question is getting worse, Somalia is getting worse, and we are keeping the attention and the eye and all the energy in.
All right, Zeid Sabban, thank you very much indeed. Let me just take you up on your support for the African Union force. By this time last year, Arab countries had sent exactly 76 personnel out of